Hi, welcome back to Team Woolly Sheep Reviews. Now, remember this, the Hubsan X4, that became this, Trigger's brush. If you remember, I transplanted a Hubsan X4 into this Rotorius frame. It's a 95mm frame. Now, yeah, that was great. The only trouble is, didn't have enough power to hardly lift the battery, never mind, you know, camera and everything else. It was a gram lighter than the Hubsan original frame. However, with the bumper guard, the camera and everything, no hope. So, what I did is I ordered some race spec motors, 8.5mm. If you remember, the original Hubsan motors were 8mm, 7.5mm, 8mm, and they were loose in the mount. So with the race spec motors, they became a nice tight fit and everything worked out. And fair play, it did actually fly quite well. I flew around, had some fun of it. A little bit snappy because I can't adjust any of the PIDs or anything. I was literally having to go with the stock settings. So what I did, I had a look on Banggood. On Banggood, I found this. This is the EVO flight controller, the F3 EVO, which is what they put on the QX95 and the 90s and the 80s, and a little receiver. Well, this receiver works with my FrSky. Now, I've got it set up as PPM, an S-Bus. Well, it's set up at PPM at the moment, and I've linked it together. So I haven't connected the motors yet, so I'm going to put this, or these, into Trigger's brush, and then I will be able to fly it with my Taranis, which means I can alter all the PIDs, the settings, and basically customize it to whatever I want. So yeah, I've gone the long way round because I should have just bought it ready-made in Banggood. I know what you're saying. They are available in Banggood. 50 quid, 60 quid. Could have had a nice one. But we wouldn't have had so much fun. So here we go. I'm going to put that into that. And then I'll put that back into that. But that's another time because I don't really want to play with that. So right, something about this F3 EVO board. Save a bit of messing around and time. I've soldered onto the second set of connections in, which is the UART2, and if you notice, the brown is on the left, which is the ground or negative, positive in the middle, and the orange is on the right, and then there's a spare set of pins then, which is the A12 telemetry connections. So far left, if you notice, right by the arrow is the ground, red, orange. Leave them blank unless you want to connect in telemetry and everything. And the last two little pins on their own are actually the beeper, the buzzer. So I will use them a bit later, but I'm going to get it up and flying first. You can see the motor connections, they're marked M1, M2, M3. There's a little arrow forwards, there's two arrows, or three actually. So you know this is going to be the tail end of the quadcopter. And the motor connections obviously are marked positive and negative on the back. Non-motor connections, the battery connections. Right, so that speeds it up. Now on the receiver, yeah, I put a header pin set on there because I was a little bit confused. I got a spare set of pins there, which are A1, A2 telemetry. So I could have connected them there. But anyway, what I've done is the signal wire on the far left. Far left when you're looking at it with the button, the bind button there, and the dip switches at the top. Now, I'm actually set up currently at PPM, so I'm on the bottom row of pins, which equates to the pins nearest the outside edge of the board. So the nearest set of pins on the edge. And I've had to set the dip switch so the bottom switch is to the right. Now if I go PPM, S-Bus, I connect that on the next one up. So I unplug that and put it on the top row of pins, and I flick that switch then back and the top switch to the right. Then it'll be in the S-bus mode. So I thought I'll set it up in PPM mode because I had a little bit of trouble. So I had to configure it with PPM with one of these. My old faithful D4R2 to make sure it all worked. When I got it working, I plugged this in and then had a little experiment on how to bind it. To bind it, you power it up while holding the bind button as normal. The light then is constant. When you bind, you put your Taranis into D8 and bind. When you select the bind, you'll see this go from constant to flashing, and it'll stay flashing. What you need to do then is cycle the power, unplug it or turn it off, turn it back on again, and then it should lock in then as bound with the Taranis, and everything should be fine. It didn't quite work for me. I had to do it a couple of attempts before I figured out that I was plugged into the wrong set of pins there. So not to worry, but that should save you time. If you want to run PPM, bottom set of pins, the signal wire to the far left on the same side as the bind button. Oops, sorry. Signal wire on the far left, same size as the bind button, and you have to alter the switches because it comes default to S-bus. So switch 2, which is the bottom of the two switches, to the right. Top switch has to be to the left, so only one can be to the right. And that's it basically. So these two pins by here are left spare at the moment. So, and that's soldered in like so. So if anybody wants to take a screenshot, there it is. Right, now I'm going to put it in. Now, one thing to remember with this, the motors, white is to the right. So the front of the quadcopter, white is to the right. As long as you do that, the opposite colours then, the white is on the opposite corner as well. So this gives me a counterclockwise rotation. If I'm correct, then fine. If I'm not, then I'm really sorry about that. So, and I'll have to explain it after. So anyway, so white to the right. So when I put this board on, it's going to be, the arrow is pointing forward, so it's going to go on like so. And I'm about to stick it into place. What I'm going to do is use a sticky pad, and that's going to be stuck on top of the flight controller board. Right, just for reference, I've been online. K is black. It's my coding. B for blue, red for red, half for red, K for black, W for white. So that is the configuration. That's obviously the USB socket, and that should replicate that. So red, blue, yeah, not bad. Red, right, yep. So yep, I'm going to dress these cables in. Once it's all dressed in, then on goes the receiver, and I put the lid to the camera and everything else. That's what I need to do, is put the camera socket. So what I need to do is solder. I wonder if I can do it off the top there, but I need to solder under there to get the camera output connections. So I shall do that now. I'll take it off the old one. And there it is. So we've got the Velcro underneath for the battery. There's the battery connection. I'm going to now put this on. Bit of weight saving because I've got that plug is stopping me. Now some people might say, oh well, you should have soldered them on there, save weight. Well, for the weight of that plug, I'd rather it be handy to use it for something else. So I can plug it in and it's ready to go for another project. So yeah, I thought I'd go with the header pins for the weight. This one worth worrying about. So I'm now going to put this on, and then I'll tidy up the wiring a little bit more. And it should sit like that, the camera there, and it'll plug in there. So it's looking good. So far, so good. for those Hawkeyes out there, this is a different arrangement for propellers. On the X4, the Hubsan, the propellers go in a different direction. I've got it set up, so that's all I've got to do now is fly it. Camera coming unplugged, so I'm going to plug the camera back in and sort the plugs out. So yeah, apart from that, absolutely fabulous, really pleased and recommend it. So buy one and build one. Thank you very much, and goodbye from Trevor's Brush. Trevor. Trigger's Brush. Trigger. Goodbye from Trigger's Brush. Thank you. So that's it from Trigger's Brush. So buy one and build one. Thank you very much.